Brothers Newsline. I am Michael Chugani. Tonight, a man under a lot of pressure, Education Secretary Eddie Ng. Thank you, Mr. Eddie Ng Hakim.
Thank you,
Secretary
Michael.
for Education, for coming here. First time on this show. Now, as I said, you're a man in the center of a storm over national education, which is a huge issue in Hong Kong. I'm going to ask you first by asking you this, why fight so hard against an issue that is facing a lot of public opposition? It gives the impression that there is a political mission that has to be fulfilled.
There has been a lot of the perception this is sort of like the public goes against this particular subject, which has been planned for almost 12 years, number one. But this is, I've emphasized it, this is a perception. Because if you look over the whole evolution of this subject, 10 years ago, various aspects of the subject been taught already in the school daily. Like in the Chinese history, like in the liberal studies, and other subjects, like geography. You have the China geography out there as well. The problem is, so these are talking about the facts and the thinking process or the learning methodology, nothing to do with the value, with the attitude. This is the part that we have an issue with over time. So by looking at the whole thing now, we believe that, we consult the parents. Parents said, I must have a kids much stronger in value, stronger in moral standing, have the sense of identity for family, for society, for nation, and for the world. These are the things that are being requested by various components of committee for the last several years.
But Secretary Ng, I have to point out it is not a perception that there is opposition, because you have 400 secondary school heads, you've got professional teachers union, you've got parent concern groups, you've got student groups. They all oppose national education. So it's not a perception. It's a
perception
reality.
In a sense that you'll be talking about a group of principals or vice principals. It's not just principal.
And parents and the
you have the parents
union.
of a group, and then you have another, like the 18 districts of the parent school councils of various kinds. They have a much bigger number. If you're talking about the teachers, we have the various teachers organizations, other than just one or two. And besides, you have the school sponsoring bodies. They have the long history, like the religious bodies as well. They are all on the same line that, well, this is needed, we are supportive of this one. The only thing is, so the majority, silent majority say, well, I support it, we are doing it, we are preparing for this one. But a small group of people pick this particular area, express a lot of distrust because of one or two unfortunate incidents.
So you're saying the opponents of this are just a small minority?
I believe this represents one sector of the community, but definitely not the bigger sector of the community. A
small minority?
I would say a portion of it only.
But then that people say there were large differences in numbers. 90,000 people went to the streets some time back. You've got 100,000 signatures opposing this being given to the chief executive. That's not a minority.
It is, and then if you look at this,
it is a minority.
If you look at the number of students in Hong Kong along the primary education and so on, it's 400,000. You talk about the number of parents, over 1 million.
So you say the silent majority support national education?
I believe so, based on various input. We have done quite intensive consultation, different components of the community. We have 2 full days of Let's Go review. So a lot of groups already expressed their concerns, and then we do the summary, taking the majority, coming up with this particular program.
But tell me this, Secretary, you say you did consultations. There was an issue a few days back that you were asked, the government was asked to release the findings of this consultation. I mean, you're sitting here and you say the consultation shows that the majority, the silent majority of Hong Kong people support national education. But yet the government is saying it cannot release the findings of this consultation until much later. Why? I mean, you say you need to trace the records. This is such a hot issue. Surely you have the records at your fingertips. And you're sitting here and saying me that the majority support national education based on that study. They released the study findings.
It's not a study. It's
a
about
consultation.
1,000 submissions.
Right.
That's one of the many means of the consultation. I think you are in a better position to judge as well. When we collect those documents, it's come from individuals. They express freely their views, and they have no intention to be shared in the public of their own perspective. This is the privacy situation we need to respect. What we're trying to do now is trying to consult different parties, trying to consult the lawyers, the SOJ as well, to see whether we can do something to sure. But the other thing I want to mention is when we did the summary to the committee under the Professor C.F. Lee's professional committee, when we shared that, reported to the LegCo at the time, that was early last year, and actually we did do the summary there as well. So not that it's not there, but then we are bound by certain rules that we cannot just release.
Can you not release the finding of the 1,000 submissions without naming names?
I did try
That will
this
at
one.
least show how many of the 1,000 supported national education.
Yeah, I tell you one, I did read some of those documents myself. And then there's one document, I said, hey, how about this one? I just delete the name.
Yeah.
Unfortunate thing is, if you look at the paragraph by paragraph, you can identify the person. I can identify the person actually.
You could not say we received 1,000 submissions and 80 submissions, 800 submissions supported national education and 200 did not. You cannot do that?
We did that. We did that around, over 65-70% actually supported, and then there's some concern about how the programs being taught and what sort of material. These are the two components there. That's why we come up with this particular curriculum guide, extremely detailed one. If you read through the whole thing, unfortunately 180 pages, then there's a big problem. I think we could have done a better job to summarize it point by point and do a better job in communicating. We eliminate this particular misunderstanding. That's why I'm saying, when you say the public, general public, perception is that the public. Actually, certain segment of the public, before they read this particular summary, and they were misled by
But you
another
know,
document.
the opponents will challenge you by saying that they are not a minority, but they are a majority.
I mean, what I can say is, we have one problem, I believe, expressed by the chief executive as well. This is a bit our frustration. We try very hard to present 5 major factual points. Unfortunately, the platform in the media, certain part of media, only 1 or 2 would come out. So actually, the other 3 or 4 actually lost in a way. And that's why we said, well, from now on, we need to be more communicative, more direct.
So that's why you're on the show.
That's why, thank you for giving me this opportunity.
I want to ask you, okay, I'm going to ask you this question. Here's your opportunity to answer that or deny that. There is you talk about perception. There is a strong perception that national education is a political mission. Can you sit here? Finally, I think somebody needs to say categorically, no, it is not. Can you do that?
No.
Can you do that?
I just said.
It is not a directive from the central authorities that we must have national
As the chief politically appointed officer on this particular education bureau, I'm the one accountable the whole thing. I've been on the job since July 1st. And before that, only very short period before that, I was appointed. Throughout this period, nobody talked to me, say, Eddie, this is your job.
So, but that doesn't mean that it is not a directive from the central authorities.
No, I'm saying so nobody gave me this directive, and I'm the one responsible for education.
I know, but the directive had gone straight to your boss, Chief Executive C.Y. Leung, and he's asked you to.
When I say nobody, I mean nobody.
I know, but the directive could have gone from the central authorities to C.Y. Leung, and C.Y. Leung is just asking you to get the national education done. That's it.
The chief executive, as well as the chief executive and the whole team, actually been extremely respectful. So they would ask opinion from us, they would ask advice and what we plan to do, and this is it. And that's why I'm saying, being the one responsible, I can assure you, nobody told me this is my job or special mission.
But is it a directive from the central authorities? Do you know that?
I don't think so.
You don't think, but you don't know for sure.
To the best of my knowledge, because I'm the one responsible, and you asked me this question, I'm telling you, nobody asked me to do it.
I'm going to ask you this. Why not change the name national education? You say parts of it has been in our curriculum for many, many years. through various different subjects.
Right.
Why not simply don't call it that? It will create less misunderstanding.
After 15 years of Hong Kong returning to the homeland, and I believe everyone actually at this point of time would realize it. Even a lot of people who said opposite to the program these days publicly, if you ask them, are you Chinese? They would categorically telling you, I am Chinese. This is the national pride. This is identity. This is the one we are not shy. We are not implicit to say this is the one we are looking for, identity, number one. Number two, we do not just say the national education. We say moral and education, this particular part.
Moral and national
That's right.
education.
This is a MNE. It's not just NE. Because we would like to have our kids being supported and built to the extent to become a very, very solid person, full of individual will, independent thinking, be able to build one's attitude and value, and be able to judge out of various dimensions, and be able to learn independently, even though the teachers and principals, they will be guiding, but they will not be imposing. They would, these students would learn how to identify facts of various kinds, see things multidimensional, learn things multidimensional. That's what we are after.
But you can do that without calling it national education.
We have the, for example, the history. You have the Chinese history. You have the sort of the liberal studies. You have the geography. The only difference is, yes, this is the mountain. This is Beijing. This is the Great Wall. Yeah, I learned it from fact. This is the wall. This is the geography. But there's no sort of identity. Hey, what does that to do with me? Because I'm Hong Kong people. Because I'm a Chinese. Because I'm national. This is the national pride of Great Wall.
Okay, I'm going to go back in a minute. Don't go away. See you soon.